some more crazy revelations coming out of the Epstein files. He actually confirms who he worked for. And no, it's not Mossad. Actually, I don't think he worked for Mossad. I think Mossad worked for him. That's how batshit crazy this guy was.
I've never seen somebody say they don't, unless they're radical and paid off, because a lot of these insurrectionists are paid by, whether it's Soros or other people.
So let me go and show you an email. Now, this is an email chain between Epstein and Peter Thiel. As you guys know, Peter Thiel is the venture capitalist that looks like someone out of a Terminator movie. Why this guy has been put on a pedestal, I don't know. But at the bottom, it says, Peter says, "Will be hard as I'm scrambling on getting ready for China. Anyone else in New Mexico?" That's what the NM stands for. Now, Jeffrey replies saying, "As you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. I was hoping to figure out a way."
So, I will put now a little speech memo in there. So I'm watching here this Epstein reveals who he was working for video. So in a email to Peter Thiel from February 28, 2016, Jeffrey Epstein confirms that he actually works for the Rothschilds, which is quite interesting because Peter Thiel became the sponsor of J.D. Vance, so he can become vice president. And of course he's a big Trump supporter, and so on and so on. Now it continues here, and this is like really the kicker. So I will see if I can forward this little video a bit.
For the bank that has 160 that has 160 billion in management can do something in tech. Best client list in the world. Prehistoric products.
So the guy is talking here a bit.
Email chain first. Theo replies, "Certainly not in Saudi. Just think I will avoid the Middle East for the next decade or so.
So then,
should be back in East Coast."
Also, to Peter Thiel, so this whole issue with Ehud Barak, very important issue. So Ehud Barak, who actually did he sit in prison? I don't know, but he actually was disgraced. Anyway, so he stepped into Palantir. According to my information, Ehud Barak is also like the largest grass grower in Israel. So from the Israel, so the cannabis industry is a growing industry. So Ehud Barak is what Joschka Fischer is for Germany, the green guy. Anyhow, so Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, received payments from Jeffrey Epstein, has been seen there in his mansions and so on. And so now Jeffrey Epstein makes the connection to Peter Thiel for Ehud Barak. It's quite something. Interesting. So this is from October the 3rd, 2000. One second. When is this?
This is a letter of agreement on behalf of the Southern Trust Company. This is a Virgin Islands corporation, and it confirms that he.
So it's from 2015 sometime, 13 or 15, it's very hard to see here. Nevertheless, it's confirmed that Jeffrey Epstein, via a certain issue, received from the Edmonton Rothschild holding $25 million, not too shabby. So, for services. So then we have the whole thing with Wexner, of course. Now, there is a very, very interesting passage here, and this really, really blew my mind.
Accurate. The reason why that's important is because they're Jewish families. To which Arian replied, whether it's a way to say that generosity is not rewarded, or December 2018, Epstein says, I influence to shape the current world we live in. And the one thing you'll notice about Epstein is that every single person who is named in these files or came in contact with them, none of them have ever criticized Israel. Coincidence?
Some, Indian guy. So of course the whole thing is Israel in connection with Israel, which I of course, think it's quite something. So, of course, the Rothschilds are in connection with the British royals. They created Israel 1970 with the Balfour Declaration. And so now, tomorrow, when Donald Trump meets, what's his name? Benjamin Netanyahu. So the guy who survived, not Ehud Barak, Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. So then we have 97 years, the Kingdom of Vatican City. So, there are long-standing relationship, and of course everything is about to bring forth the Messiah and so on. And of course the Rothschilds are heavily involved in bringing about Israel, financing the whole issue, in cooperation with America and so on. And just today, tomorrow, well, it's a very, very significant historic day. So now it's very important to listen what's happening here now, what the Indian is saying. And this really blew my mind.
I have a communication chain directly. So now I have a communication chain directly between Epstein and Ariane de Rothschild.
So Ariane de Rothschild, I really have to say, but
20
this is from the 31st December 2018. And if you think about back what we did with the, court case of the apocalypse. So this was, December 22nd of January. 2 weeks later, we were at the Vatican, 2019, and on the 24th of October, 2018. So the Rothschilds announced that they would actually, sell all their trust businesses after we send them the final settlement. So now stuff is coming out what happened in the Rothschild family, and this is quite something.
2018, Epstein says, I thought you found it amusing that in a Harvard class on Hitler, they told the story that he was so poor he lived in a shelter for the homeless, that he had been financed by 3 wealthy families, the Gutmans, the Epsteins, and the Rothschilds. It turns out to be accurate.
Now this
the reason
is
why that's
something.
important is...
So, in this email, Ariane de Rothschild actually says, hey, listen, Jeffrey Epstein says that in a Harvard class, somebody told the story that Hitler, when he was home in Poland, when he was poor, in Vienna, whatever, that he was financed by the Goodmans, the Epsteins, what the predecessor from Jeffrey, and the Rothschilds. And so now there is this corresponding going on, which basically confirms this. Ariane de Rothschild confirms this, and this blows my
the Jewish
mind.
families. To which Ariane replies, whether it's a way to say that generosity is not rewarded or that the conspiracy theory still exists is quite pathetic. So she rejects this notion, but not quite. Epstein responds by saying, first, it turns out to be 100% true. Hitler was selling his clothes and artwork and living in a shelter funded by Jews. Epstein, Rothschilds, and Gutmans, these are names of families back then. No conspiracy, the Epsteins were the Vienna bankers, bought their bank on the ring, hence still Palais Epstein. Where are you? I'm in bed with your cold. So wait, Hitler was funded by Jews? Huh? What does that mean? Now she replies and she goes, I know it is true, but regularly used to say that Rothschilds planned and supported Hitler in mass destruction gain of power. What she's trying to say is, they may have financed him in the beginning.
What Ariane de Rothschild confirms here on 31st December 2018 to Jeffrey Epstein, yes, I know it's true. The Epsteins, the Rothschilds, and the Goodmans finance Hitler. Okay, now this is, what can I say? So this is quite something,
Hitler turned and went crazy. But the moment Hitler turned and went crazy,
so then
that's when
of course there are all these weird other stuff. So anyway, so this is Ariane de Rothschild. Now, let me see if we can have here these. Okay, this is what I'm currently writing on. Okay, so because of course right now in Israel, so everything has to do with the revelation, and there was yesterday a video of Ephraim I watched, well, I did this here, so I took a look at this here, Ephraim Pivanov. Yes, here. Trump, Iran in the year of the fiery horse. Yeah, we have Trump of Iran. So, of course, now, very important here. So,
going to focus on today, the horseman and Zachariah.
So, again here, Ephraim Pivanov in his latest. So we're now in the fight with Persia, Trump is going on and so on. So, and quite at the beginning, at 10 minutes or something like this. So, he quotes from Zechariah 9:9, rejoice greatly, daughter of Zion, raise or shout of fear, Jerusalem, behold your king is coming to you. He is victorious, triumphant, he humble, riding on a donkey, on an ass of a foal by a jenny. Okay, I never heard about that one. So quite interesting translation. So I'm going back here. So, as it turns out, so these are the daughters of Ephraim. So I saw this quite a lot. So to the left is the birth certificate of the fair Jerusalem, the daughter of Jerusalem, born on the 5th of July, 1999 in Jerusalem. And here in the middle, so this is the birth certificate of Yael Eden, the daughter of Jerusalem, born on 21st of November 2004. Now, so we are now in a very, very last moments. Why is this here in, what do I have here? Aha. It's in English, yes, it's in English. So now, as you can see, so there is currently, the book of Revelation says in chapter 13, that there is a beast coming out. A beast comes, perhaps you go here into Revelation, let me check here out. So, book of Revelation 13. So there are these two beasts. So in the first beast, the dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, and with the 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled one in chapter, so this is now 13:3. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have had a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. So, Revelation 13:3. Now, on the 13th of March in 13, we had here the Pontifex Maximus, Francis. So he was put into power. Now, he is not that first beast. That first beast, where is he? Do we have pictures here? Do we have pictures? Yes. So these two guys, so this is the first beast, the dragon, who gave power to the beast, So we go here to chapter 13. So one of the heads of the beast seemed to have a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. People worshipping the dragon because he was giving authority to the beast. So basically Mussolini on the 11th of February 1929 gave power to the Pope. After 59 years of isolation because of revolution and so on. So the Pope was isolated from 1870 to the 11th of February 1929. And then Mussolini signed the Lateran Treaty and gave the Pope his own kingdom. So since then, the Pope is basically king of the world. So here we say here, it was given power to wage war against holy people and to conquer them. and it was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nations. So this is basically what happened right after the Mussolini gave power to the beast, or to the Pope. So he signed a concordat, so a contract with the German Empire, and so then of course the Holocaust started. Now this is 97 years ago, and now today, as you can see here, the Pope became now the boss of all the nations. So now we come to the Ark of the Covenant. So we're preparing here this article already. So, but this is what we are experiencing today. So this is the fourth beast of the book of Daniel. And it is so now this beast in Daniel, the fourth beast, so it has very long age, 1,700 years. Started with Constantine, but there was this break. So it was after 1,000 years of Holy Roman Empire of German nations. So the revolution of the Freemasons in France, in Paris, and in Washington, of course. So they broke the power of the Pope after 1,000 years of the Holy Roman Empire German nations, and then within 17 years, basically broke all the worldly power, took all the land, and isolated the Pope in the Vatican. So this is when the head, basically, of the beast received a deadly wound. And it was Mussolini who pulled this thing out, and then so now we have this here, very nice. So I put this here up, very nice. So then we have so these two guys, so Mussolini gave power now to the Pope. Then he had a kingdom, signed a contract with Adolf Hitler on the 20th of July 1933, and then the Holocaust started. And then he overtook the people of God, the Jewish people, overpowered them. So this is what Revelation 13 says in the first half. So then it says here, I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. So this is, my dear friends, this is Obama. I have here, we'll go to the pictures later, but this is basically the Obama who gave now power to Mario Bergoglio and sent him on a world tour, including into the United Nations, the White House, and so on and so on. So it exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf, meaning, Obama, and made the earth and its inhabiting worship the first beast whose fatal wound had been healed. So it was basically a color revolution of the Democrats, of Obama and Clinton, and, as it turns out, and George Soros, in the Vatican to place a Jesuit Marxist into the highest position of power. And he exercised that power since 2013, of course, until he died. Now we have Citizen Bob. And it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people. Yeah. So we're talking now death from above. Drone attacks from Obama and so on for years and years and years. Obama, had the funded ISIS. What I'm talking about, now it's coming all out through the Epstein files. Because of the signs, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. So are you deceived? Currently, what's going on with Epstein? Are you understand that the whole elite, the whole world system is involved in the deception of humanity? So it ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. So basically, this is exactly when they say we build an image to the beast. that he was allowed to speak, run around in a white dress and say, hey, listen, I'm the Holy Father and I'm the wisest guy in the world, blah, 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 and then put in Marxist rules, okay? So he was a wet dream of the left. So the second beast, meaning Obama, was given power now to give breath to the image of the first beast so that the image could speak and cause all those who refuse to worship the image to be killed. So now think about what that actually means, how that actually means. So basically the Jewish people had to build up an image, like to make it also forced all people, great rich man, take his forehead, blah, blah, blah. So now, after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of persecution by this Roman Catholic Church, by the Pope. I mean, this is why people fled to the United States. This is why they left Europe to live, religious freedom, because they wanted to believe in the Bible. The Jews wanted to believe in the Bible. Christians, of all kinds streams wanted to believe in the Bible. The Christian Zionists from England, they wanted to believe in the Bible. But the beast, the Roman Catholic Church, decided the theology of basically the whole Roman Empire and killed everybody who opposed that. So it had to be a revolution to take away the worldly power, but in order to create Israel, well, you had to give the Pope a kingdom, so at the end, that the Son of Man, the heir, can be given a kingdom. So, and this is what happened. And this is where we are right now. So we really have to see that the Pope Pope Leo, US citizen Bob, so he became Pope on the 80th birthday of the total capitulation of Germany, 8th of May, 2025. Yeah. So Friedrich Merz here, our Roman Catholic Chancellor, so he is bound by law to believe in the Trinity, in the Son. So the European flag with the 12 stars, here presented under Israel, well, it appears in the book of Revelation. And it's a sign, people say, for the Catholics say, okay, this is like for the Virgin Mary, who gives birth to Jesus? Now, in this age, so there had to be this Holy Father built up, where everybody believes that he is the infallible representative of Christ. So, and he had to be given access to whatever he wanted. Now, over the last 70 years, as it turns out, he wanted mostly boys. If you take a look at the most pedophile cases, well, then take a look at the Roman Catholic Church. Yeah. So it's unbelievable. And they find out day by day. So now, because this guy here, he is the King of Kings. He's the most powerful man on the planet. But all world believes that soon Jesus Christ is coming, the King of the Jews, and basically liberate the children of Israel from oppression, from that beast. So this is what's written right now in the book of Daniel. And so everything what we said earlier, we said, okay, listen guys, so here, this is here my credentials. I was born on the 25th of May, 1967. It's the day of all days. Long story. And my daughter was born on the 40th birthday of Lumen Gentium. So I am basically 37 years old and 180 days, which is the age of King David when he became king over all Jerusalem. So now in the meantime, of course, the sun, everybody waits on, he cut already a deal on Mount Zion So, because on Mount Zion will be deliverance, and there it will be holy, and Jacob will possess his inheritance. So Jacob will be a fire and Joseph a flame. So Esau will be stubble and they will set him on fire and destroy him. There will be no survivors from Esau. So Esau is Rome, is the Pope, is Christianity, is idol worship, living by the storms, and Roman style enslavement. I mean, this is what we're having, 2,000 years of Roman enslavement of the children of Israel. So whatever this guy says, you have to do. Now, Epstein was a facilitator. Yeah. If you take a look at, the book of Esther, if you take a look at the book of Esther, well, then Ahasuerus, he had some issues with his, Veshna. So, and he sent out his spotters to get the most beautiful women from all the provinces of all the world. And then they had, after 6 months of preparation, after they were beautified and they're looking sharp and they were Miss Universe, so then they were allowed one night with the king. All Hollywood movies were made about this, about the story of Queen Esther. Now these spotters, okay, well they are going out, so it's absolutely super normal in a Jewish family to go out to look for a proper mate for your son. So they're matchmakers all over. It's absolutely normal. We see this with Eliezer going out to find a wife for Isaac when he is sent, from Abraham. So. And over the years, of course, the culture changed, but the demand of, sexual partners for the elite, well, this goes since Rome. And why do you think this changes? Because the guy is putting on a white dress. So you're living in a fantasy. And this is exactly what the Hollywood industry did. So they painted a picture of a beautiful world where everybody is friendly, where everybody is looking at that and says, hey, we're listening, we are cooperating together and we are promoting peace. But in the back, it's like the worst and most corrupt system you can even imagine. And you all fell for the beast. Now, we're living in the European theater. So Munich Security Conference now in Munich. So the actors who play a role, they are, doing plans, whatever, while Bibi is now meeting Donald Trump. So this, my dear friends, will